Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're into space, science, or just mind-blowing facts that make you rethink everything you thought you knew, then you're in the right place. Today, we're talking about something that sounds impossible, but is 100% true. A day on Venus is actually longer than a year. Yeah, you heard that right. Venus, our closest planetary neighbor, has one of the strangest rotations in the entire solar system. It takes 243 Earth days for Venus to complete just one full rotation on its axis, but it takes only 225 Earth days for it to complete one full orbit around the Sun. That means that before Venus even finishes one full day, it has already completed an entire trip around the Sun. Just let that sink in for a second. Imagine living on a planet where an entire year flies by before you even experience a full sunrise to sunset cycle. So, why does this happen? Why does Venus rotate so slowly? And to make things even crazier, why does it rotate in the opposite direction compared to Earth and most other planets? This is called retrograde rotation, which means that if you were standing on Venus, which, by the way, you definitely wouldn't want to do, the sun would rise in the west and set in the east, the exact opposite of what happens here on Earth. Scientists have a few theories about why Venus is like this. One idea is that early in its history, Venus was hit by a massive asteroid or celestial body, which could have slowed down its rotation or even flipped it in the opposite direction. Another theory suggests that over millions of years, gravitational forces from the sun created tidal effects that gradually slowed Venus's rotation to what we see today. Now, let's talk about what this means for Venus itself. Because Venus rotates so slowly, it doesn't have a regular day-night cycle like Earth. Think about it. If the same side of the planet is exposed to the sun for months at a time, that's going to create some insane temperature extremes. But here's the thing, Venus doesn't just get hot, it gets unbelievably hot. In fact, Venus is the hottest planet in the solar system, even though Mercury is closer to the sun. That's because Venus has an extremely thick atmosphere, mostly made up of carbon dioxide, CO2, with clouds of sulfuric acid. This creates a runaway greenhouse effect, trapping heat and making the surface temperature reach around 900 degrees Fahrenheit, 475 degrees Celsius, hot enough to melt lead. And because Venus rotates so slowly, it never really has a chance to cool down. But here's where it gets even weirder. Even though Venus's surface moves at a painfully slow pace, its atmosphere moves at extreme speeds. The upper layers of Venus's thick clouds have superrotational winds that travel at over 200 miles per hour, 322 kilometers per h. That means that while the planet itself is barely moving, the clouds above it are racing around at hurricane speeds, completing a full lap around Venus in just 4 days. Scientists are still trying to fully understand why this happens, but it's likely due to a mix of Venus's thick atmosphere, slow rotation, and the way heat is distributed across the planet. And what about the planet's surface? Well, it's not exactly a welcoming place. Because of its extreme heat and thick atmosphere, Venus has crushing surface pressure, about 92 times what we experience on Earth. That's like being nearly a mile underwater in the ocean. And to top it off, scientists believe Venus is still volcanically active, with recent evidence suggesting that some of its volcanoes may still be erupting. So if you thought Venus was just a boring dead planet, think again. Now, you might be wondering, why should we care about Venus? What makes it so important to study? Well, studying Venus helps scientists understand planetary evolution, how atmospheres change over time, and even what could happen to Earth if we're not careful with our own greenhouse gas emissions. Some scientists even believe that Venus may have once had liquid water on its surface, meaning it could have been somewhat Earth-like in the past. If that's true, what happened to Venus could be a warning sign for our own planet's future. That's why NASA and other space agencies are planning new missions to Venus, like Veritas and Da Vinci Plus, to map its surface, study its atmosphere, and uncover more of its secrets. So, the next time you look up at the sky and see Venus shining bright, just remember, it's a world where a single day lasts longer than a year, where the sun rises in the wrong direction, where the surface is hotter than an oven, and where hurricane-force winds whip around the planet while the ground below barely moves. It's one of the strangest and most extreme places in the solar system, and we've barely scratched the surface of what there is to learn about it. Thanks for watching, and if you found this as mind-blowing as I did, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more crazy space facts. See you in the next one!